Hello, this is Virtualis the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. In the Vienna game Accepted, we often reach this position. This has occurred over 5,500 times, according to Lichess database, and normally you would think you should play knight f3 to prevent the queen coming to h4 with check. However, today I played knight d5 with an attack on the queen, and the opponent played queen h4 with check. Did I make an egregious blunder? Now, to answer that question very quickly, Stockfish did not think I made an egregious blunder. So let's have a look at the analysis. e4, e5, knight c3, beginning of the Vienna game. Knight f6, to which we respond with f4, the Vienna Gambit. Opponent accepts the Vienna Gambit and we play e5. And those of you who follow the channel or know about the Vienna Gambit would know that this is very good for white because that knight on f6 has nowhere good to go. The best move is in fact to return to g8. Now, very commonly the opponent will not want to retreat their knight and so aim to pin the pawn, but we can unpin by playing queen e2. Same problem now arises. Here the opponent will often retreat their knight to g8. Now in this position, it would seem logical to play knight f3 because one of the things with moving the f-pawn is that queen h4 comes with check. And that potentially looks absolutely terrifying, right? Because if the queen comes to this position, hold on, let's say we make another move. The queen comes to this position. If you block, you have to potentially block with the pawn, or maybe you would move the king. Captures, and that's looking really, really bad because a forward pawn move is a discovered check. If you try to capture back, the queen captures the rook. So that looks potentially absolutely terrifying. However, I have played one previous game here where I did some analysis, and the interesting thing is that Stockfish doesn't seem to be scared of this. It reckons that d4 is the best move. And if you look at the line, Stockfish expects the queen to go to h4 with check. Now, why is that the case? Why is that the case? Why is Stockfish not scared of that move? Now, we will see. We will see. So here they play d6. That's a very sort of common sort of move. And the trap potentially here for black. So let's say I block that, and then the opponent makes a non-committal move. I now have knight to d5, attacking queen and the pawn. The opponent feels like they need to do something. Queen can't go anywhere. They feel they need to defend that pawn. And so what do? Often they will move the queen either to this square or back to d8. Let's say they move the queen here. Now here you can capture the pawn anyway with check. And if the opponent captures, now you have a discovered check. Queen is under attack. If the king moves out of the way, queen is lost. If the opponent tries to block the check with one of the pieces, queen is lost. If they try to block with queen, queen is lost. Basically, the queen is lost. A very, very beautiful, nasty, I suppose, if you're playing black, trap. So that's what you're trying to get out of the Vienna Gambit Accepted. But, here, you seems like you potentially could lose a move. The opponent could potentially play another move, and it blocks you from allowing that trap. So here, what you can potentially do, and what I did do in this game, is to allow h4 with check. Still played the knight move. See, great move, +5, and allow this. And why would you allow this? Let's watch. Block with pawn. Very natural move. They're going to capture back. And here you now play the stunning move, bishop g5, attacking the queen. looks insane, doesn't it? This move looks insane. But if the opponent moves their pawn for a discovered check, the bishop captures the queen. So they can't simply do that. And so the single most natural looking move, now even though Stockfish doesn't like this quite as much, the single logical move here is that the queen is going to capture the bishop. That bishop looks like it's hanging, right? Yep, but now you've got pawn captures pawn on d6 with a discovered check. Another great move. Now, here there looks like a number of possible moves. So, you know, the opponent could potentially block with those two pieces, but that doesn't seem to make sense because that square is attacked by the pawn, attacked by the rook, and attacked by the queen. So that doesn't seem to make sense. If they block with queen, now that even makes less sense, obviously. If the king sort of moves to, like the king can't move to that square, obviously. King, I suppose, could move to that square, but then, you know, it's under check by the queen. That looks pretty disastrous. It looks like there's a mating net there. If the, and similarly, if the king moves to that square there, you know, it looks like it's, again, disastrous. So, what's the most natural looking move? Surely it must be bishop here attacking the knight and also blocking the check. And that is what my opponent plays. And look at this, plus 10. A completely natural looking move goes to plus 10. Why? Queen b5 with check. And here again, every single move looks disastrous. It looks like it could be a mating net. Here, they decide to block the check with the knight, which is what you would expect. But now I've got knight captures pawn, again, forking those two pieces, but now also a discovered attack on the queen. So they move there. King can't even capture the knight because it's protected, and the queen is lost. Plus 10. Absolutely deadly and devastating, you know, secondary trap there. Now, my opponent here was a really good sport and actually continued to play here, but the reality is I'm plus 6 in material. Their position is hammered. They move here. I just decide to capture that rook. No reason not to. They capture here. I decide to move the knight out. No, need to do something about that about that pawn there. I don't want it to promote, obviously. Capture here. Happy to lose that. Doesn't matter. Yep. And I long castle, and now my king is basically safe. And you know, from here there's a bit of shuffling, but you know, the reality is, it is not good for the opponent. You know, I am plus 8 material. I'm perfectly safe. They're not. I still have my queen. And, you know, they now make a final move where they resigned immediately after this move because they accidentally hung their knight. Good game. GG. 2 takeaways from this game. 1, the Vienna Gambit accepted is an awesome opening. And 2, in the usual way this develops in the beginner intermediate level, do not fear Queen H4 with check. I hope you found this game interesting, and thanks for watching.